What's up, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this POV review by AutoTopNL. My name is Max, and today we've got the fastest iX by BMW you can buy today, the M60. So it is the M Performance model of the iX. I'm going to show you around it today. I'm going to take it for a drive. I'll show you the interior. We'll take a look at the spec, and then we'll take it for a drive towards the Autobahn for an Autobahn blast, because the M60 actually has a top speed of 250 kilometers an hour, while the 40 and the 50 both have a top speed of 200, which is not that much. So I'll start with the spec we've got it in today, because we've got this beautiful dark red iX, and well, styling wise, we have made a video of this car, of the introduction, like a sneak preview of the iX, and like I said back then, it is quite a roundish, sleek blob of a car. Yeah, it's not really my thing. I haven't gotten used to it. I still think it looks like it swallowed an i3 and pooped it out, but a whole lot was left right there. It's not a very pretty car. BMW calls it an iX, indicating that it is an electric SUV, but I feel like this is more in the active tourer range. It's more of an MPV than an SUV to me, but that's just my opinion. I'm curious to see what you guys think of the styling of this car. Let me know, have you gotten used to it yet? I mean, I did get used to the M3 grille, so you would say that you get used to this as well. Of course, the grille in this case is an intelligence panel housing camera, sensors, radar, stuff like that. We don't have that much air intakes, of course. Don't need that much cooling, don't need that much air to be taken in. Very narrow, aggressive headlights at the front, which I do like. Moving on down the side, we've got these crazy 22-inch wheels with carbon inserts. Okay, that is art. That is straight art right there. So you can play music on your carbon and performance wheel inserts. They look like they also do something aerodynamically speaking, like closing off part of the wheel. That would be cool if that is actually true. Blue brake calipers, of course, for the M Performance model. And we've got blue around the logo as well for the I, indicating that it is an electric BMW. Air suspension all round that has been tweaked very slightly for the M Performance version, so it's a little bit stiffer, 20% I believe. So is the steering, a little bit heavier, and the rear engine has been tweaked slightly, so it has a slightly bigger rotor, developing 490 horsepower on the rear motor, and it has a front motor as well, 258 horsepower. Combine that, 619 and 1015 newton meters. And when you use launch control, you get the full 1100 newton meters of torque. So this car actually uses a new type of electric motor that doesn't use a permanent magnet, so it has no rare earth metals in it. So a lot of smart stuff going on, but that is just for the entire iX range, of course. It does have a little bit more power than the iX50, because it is an M Performance with this black and bronze logo there. And then we've got an M60 badge on the rear in that black and bronze as well. But I have to say, I don't think that they did quite enough to set this car apart from a 50. I don't think you can actually see it, the difference between a 50 and an M60, apart from the logos, of course. At the rear, super narrow rear lights. So let's check out luggage space, which is usually hurt by electric motors and batteries under the floor. Some charging cables there. That is actually not too bad. That is quite large. I mean, you can get that out, and then that is a pretty decent loading area. Now, this car has the batteries down low, of course, in the center. The batteries weigh something like 600 kilos, and in total the car weighs in at just under 2600 kilos. So it is very heavy, even though, as you can see, they did use carbon fiber reinforced plastic and an aluminium space frame to save weight and to make it very stiff, of course. But it is still very, very heavy. I mean, 600 kilos battery pack, and then I mean you've got 2,000 kilos while using carbon and aluminium. So it is quite a heavy car. And there is something I don't really like about this. I think the car is really well built overall, but the door sound, I think that has something to do with the frameless windows. But if you close this door, it just doesn't sound that good. Something is... That is better. Okay. That has something to do with the front door. Very good car testing here. So rear space is amazing. This car's wheelbase is 3 meters. Of course, you don't have an engine at the front, so you can stretch out the wheelbase. So rear passenger space is amazing. Insert an iPad holder or something like that in there, of course. And we've got the Bowers & Wilkins audio 30 speaker system, which is insane. But this is very, very nice. This is super spacious. Lots of leg room, lots of headroom. And that is the theme of this car. They started designing this car from the inside out. So they really wanted to create a very nice place to hang out. And from there they started designing the car. Hence the shape. Because they just wanted something big and spacious. And then they just put wheels on it. And even though it does have a very good aerodynamic drag coefficient, 0.25. So that is pretty amazing. On the inside we have a few very cool things. Number one, we've got a hexagonal steering wheel, which I quite like. It's very open and it looks super funky with that bronze color again. The bronze titanium, I think BMW calls it. Again, on the door here as well, we've got a button to open it. So there's an electrically... Something is not sounding right there. Anyway, so that titanium bronze on the doors, you have it all around the car, on the center console here as well. And then we have the big screen with the new iDrive 8, which, as I said before, I'm not a big fan of, because you have everything, all your apps in one screen. So it's not as easy to navigate as the previous iDrive was, in my opinion. I thought that one worked so well, and you were only a couple of clicks away from everything all the time. We've got a big center console, as you can see, with wood, which is very nice. And we've got the crystal for the iDrive controller, the sound, the gear selector, and the seat controls on the doors as well. I don't like that. I feel like it's gimmicky and it's a bit kitschy. And when the light hits this thing right, you are blinded and it's just very annoying. So yeah, I don't really like that. I feel like it's a bit of a gimmick. But other than that, I love this center stack because it feels like a control unit of a spaceship, which is very cool because I like pretending to be an astronaut / pilot of a spaceship. Anyway, we've got little olive leaves right there, and that is because the leather has been colored using olive extract, which apparently is very sustainable. The leather is amazing, and that is something that you take away from this car. It is super, super comfy. It is quiet, it is soft, it is just a very relaxing place to be. I really like the inside, I really don't like the exterior. I feel like this is very successful, but the exterior styling is just not sexy at all. It just lacks any form of sex appeal, which is a shame. Now, driving modes, which are called My Modes now, which I don't really like either. We've got efficient, sport, and personal. Now, if we go for sport, it also reduces the traction control, and we get more sound. Now, the sound has been designed by Hans Zimmer, who is an Academy Award winning film music composer. Phew, that is a lot of torque. And he used something called the Shepherd tones. Now, what is that, you might ask? That is basically a sound effect that has like an endless rising tone. So They use that in a lot of different films, like Batman, the sound of the Batmobile with the Christian Bale Batman. They used it in Dunkirk as well. It's that endlessly rising sound that makes you feel very uncomfortable, but it also builds tension. And I feel like they did the same in this. It is that same sound that doesn't really seem to ever hit its peak, which I think is quite clever. Very random fact there, but shepherd stones. Anyway, driving it, I don't really feel like they did enough to separate this car from the iX50, because yes, they made the suspension stiffer, but I mean, who is going to care about that? This car is all about comfort. It is all about being, you know, soft, quiet, supple, absorbing all the bumps. It's very good at that, but the iX50 is even better at that because it's softer. Its suspension setup is softer. So I don't really understand why this car exists, other than throwing a couple of M Performance badges on it to sell more of them, basically. And that really pains me. I really don't like that. The range of this car, WLTP claimed range, is 560 kilometers. The range of the iX50 is 630, so it's 70 kilometers more. That is a lot. I mean, it's got 523 horsepower. It's also very quick. And so the M Performance part of, you know, heavy steering, stiffer suspension, I don't think that really matters to anyone buying this car. Certainly it doesn't matter to me. Okay, launch control, very cool. Car starts shaking, which I think is very clever, and that is 3.8 seconds to 100, which is quite quick for a 2.6 ton car. But that launch control is very well done. The entire car starts shaking, the sound changes as well, and I really like that. It feels like a dog getting ready to attack, you know, it starts waggling its tail and then goes. Now, as I said, you've got full power when you use launch control at 1100 Newton meters, but of course that also means that when you go onto the Autobahn, like we are doing now, you don't have full power. And I think it's more of a difference than they let us to believe, because they say it's only 85 Newton meters, but the difference in 100 to 200 measurements is insanely big. So 94 kilometers an hour, full throttle. Okay, here we go. Oh, it's doing better now. Okay. That is a lot better than before. I did a run earlier and it was like 20 seconds. Something really didn't add up. But anyway, so what they do with this car is from 0 to 50 kilometers an hour, they kind of limit the power to make it, you know, go off the line quickly. Then you get more power up to 200 kilometers an hour, and then it starts fading away again from 200 to 250 kilometers an hour. And you can really feel these increments. You can feel it getting slower, basically losing a lot of the power right now. But it just feels like sometimes it's not really giving me all the power. It's quite weird. Anyway, you can hear, you know, wind and tire noise very, very good. It is super quiet in here, and there's also very little sound from the drivetrain. So when you have the car in efficient, I can show you my modes and efficient. So this is the optimized for consumption mode, but you also don't have the fake sound. So when I floor it, you don't hear anything, you don't feel anything. There are no vibrations, and that is because they have mounted everything with super soft rubber to absorb all the vibrations and all the sound you might get from the drivetrain. Now Again, I'm feeling like it's not giving me full power because it was way quicker earlier. Okay, it's just not giving me the full stuff. But I was able to hit 252 kilometers an hour earlier on the speedo. So that is not bad. It is getting close to that 250 kilometers an hour GPS. But do I care is the question, because as I've said before, I seem to care more about the range than about the power with these electric cars. And I did a 9.72 100 to 200 kilometers an hour run, which is pretty decent. We always say everything under 10 is quick. But it's not as quick as a Porsche Taycan 4S, for instance. So it's not mind-blowingly quick anyway. I don't really understand why this is an M60. But I think the iX50 is probably the one to buy here. Bigger range, more comfortable, and the M performance stuff you just don't really need on this car. So that's it for this review. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you at the next one. Bye guys.